What's going on, guys? Kevin here to bring you a brand new video today. For today, we're going to be going over day 18 for October. Hello, Chloe. Um, so the film that we have chosen to watch last night was a movie called Coherence. Coherence. This movie is so freaking bizarre, man, and so different from any other movie I've seen. I keep seeing these like obscure movies. I'm not like seeing any like, normal movies. Like it's all just like ridiculous, absurd movies like this that I keep seeing. And this is no exception. This movie is so freaking crazy with its plot and how it's laid out. It's just so mind-boggling. It's one of those like mindfuck films. To me, it's not as like mindfuckery as other ones. Like I was able to really enjoy it. Like I really enjoyed it, and like I felt like even though it was like confusing, I was able to understand like I want to say like 90% of it. I mean, like there's some like logic in it where I'm like, not sure exactly how that works, but I do understand like what's going on for the most part, I guess you could say. But yeah, Coherence is about this group of people who hang out together for like a get together and end up being in the presence of a comet that was passing and causes and this comet ends up causing reality to shift in a certain way, and it causes like some discourse in the group. But yeah, this comet makes these people basically like have like alternate realities, I guess is the best way to put it. And like there was like this like hallucinogen that like you could think and they thought was like influencing them in a certain way to like make them start like seeing shit, but it wasn't that. Like that was just like a something to make you think it was that, but it wasn't. But yeah, this movie is a lot different because it's very dialogue heavy, and it's basically the whole movie is just like talking. There's like no real like action or like scary stuff or anything like that, which is fine by me because this movie is actually still really good. And I think I feel like there are like some parts of dialogue where I'm kind of like, okay, why are they talking about this? This is kind of boring me. Like in the beginning, especially like they were just like talking about things that like that were so like irrelevant and just were boring me to death. Just for a little bit. Aside from that, like once this comet comes, they're just trying to like figure out what the hell is going on basically, and they're trying to like basically decipher like how these like alternate realities work, and so are you. And eventually, they do more or less figure it out, and you are able to kind of like piece it together with how it works, or at least with what's going on. Maybe not necessarily with like how it works. Essentially, like you have like these people in this house, and then they can go to this other house, which is supposedly like different, but it's really the same. It's just a different reality with the same people. So they can essentially like jump to different realities, and then by the end of the movie, like everyone like in the house is like from a different reality, or at least like certain people are from different realities. But like I don't get like maybe they just like didn't explain it, but like I don't get like how the whole like jumping to another reality even works. So like if you walk across the street to the other house, does that mean you're in the other reality? But then if you walk back, are you going back to the old reality or are you going to another reality? Because by the end of the movie, like people are in like five different realities. So that makes me think that like if they keep going back and forth, then they're basically like just like jumping between like more than just one reality. or more than two realities, even rather. There's a lot of like key things to pick up on this movie, which I do kind of like how you have to like look at these key little things to like pick up on. The biggest thing being is that this box had a random item in it and a series of numbers, and then when they open the box, they see like a ping pong paddle in it at the beginning. But then when they open the box, when they do the box later, they put like, I want to say something else in it. It wasn't a ping pong paddle. And then like other people were saying like, oh, mine had a staple in it, or they were going to put a coaster in it. So like this is where it gets like separate. And like also like it's a little unclear, but I guess like some of the realities are more ahead of time than others, because like if they were just making the box then and then like in the beginning of the movie they found the box, and then later on in the movie they're just like making the box, then that must mean like that the other realities, some of the other realities are like further in the future somehow. God, dude. The more I talk about it, this movie is just it's a mind fuck, but it's really enjoyable though. I do really like it, and also like this like book that was like on like quantum physics and like coherence. It talks about like coherence. Was never used in the final reality that we see in the end. It was still in the car, whereas in the earlier realities, it was used. So that's also like another thing to note. And like also they had like colored glow sticks, where like in the beginning they use like blue, and then like later on it's like some of the people have like red glow sticks in the other realities. So it's just like little things that like show that there's a slight like distortion of it. But I guess you could say it's basically like, imagine like just multiple timelines that are like separate, that are all like going on their own path, but these timelines all have like something different going on with them, and then if they converge, then they end up like influencing each other as they continue. um, I feel like that's a good way to explain it, in like simple terms. But like at the end, there's like this cool like turn of events where this girl really wanted to survive, because she was convinced that if she didn't like get out of there and go into like the original reality, then she would just be stuck there and die, which I do believe could be very true. But I feel like you can't like confirm or deny that. Like you have to wonder like maybe if the other realities would just live on, or once the comet passes, like all of the fake realities would just die out, and the only one that would survive would just be the regular one. Like that's like another thing to wonder. But either way, this girl, this final girl, she's like the main character. She like sneaks out and somehow manages to find the correct reality that was going to just continue on with life, as is, like everything's normal, and she kills her own self from that reality, so that like people will think it's just her, and that like and then she'll survive, like that version of her will survive in that reality. So she does that, and she gets like a ring. uh, she like steals like a ring back. But then at the end, something very interesting happens. This guy, who she's either girlfriends with or just married to, gets a call. And he answers the call, and then he starts looking at the girl, thinking something's wrong. And most people, including me, I think would speculate that he got a call saying that this girl is not who she says she is. She is not the real person, not the real M. M was her name. And then the movie just ends. And I gotta say that's a really cool way to end it. Just to kind of like be like, oh, think about this. This is a thing that could be interpreted in a certain way. But yeah, overall I thought it was a really good movie. Like it's one of those like movies that's like a horror movie, actually. It's like a psychological horror movie. And then like it's also like one of those movies you have to think a lot about, which is an interesting combo. Like I guess like you don't see that a whole lot. Like maybe like if we're talking about that, like maybe like Us a little bit, where you like kind of have to think about it, and like it's a horror movie. But Us is still a lot different from this as far as like how it's structured. Yeah, I just think it's really cool. There's some interesting facts to know about this movie that some people may or may not know. So I took a picture of it. This was on Prime Video, and I took a picture of this fun fact that I think was really cool. So this movie was shot on a budget of 50K, a good amount of money for a movie of just like one location like that and not relying on any like special effects. That's understandable. But the movie was shot over 5 nights, only 5 nights, in a single location, and the dialogue was largely improvised. And if you've seen this movie, you know that there's a lot of dialogue in this movie. So like that's crazy to me that so much of it was improvised. Um, yeah, I just can't believe that. And then they shot it in 5 nights. Like, holy shit. And also, another fun fact is that a lot of the characters in this movie, a good majority of the characters have the same names as their real life actors, which is kind of cool. So, M is played by Emily Baldoni. Lori is played by Lauren Mayer. Beth is played by Elizabeth Grayson. Hugh is played by Hugo Armstrong. Laureen, or Lee, is played by Laureen Scafaria. And the only two characters that really don't have the same name at all are Mike, played by Nicholas Brandon, and Kevin, played by Mari Sterling. Other than that, like they all have like similar names. So I just found that like interesting. I feel like they just like didn't want to have to go through the trouble of like picking names for characters, so they just like kept a lot of them as is. But as far as like performances of this movie go, I mean like the most of the cast is pretty good. I feel like, especially Lauren Mayer. I really like her, and I really liked the main character, M. She's pretty good too. Um, Nicholas Brandon is kind of interesting. He's actually one of the main cast members of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it was interesting to see him in this kind of movie. I mean, it's definitely like a good like choice to like add some diversity to his career, and I think he did like play it pretty well for like this type of movie. But the only thing that I kind of had like an issue with was the fact that he was literally an alcoholic in this movie, and it's just ironic because he's like an alcoholic in real life, Nicholas Brandon. So that's just like a little odd to see that. Like the fact that he's basically playing a version of himself in that sense, just like being an alcoholic. But yeah, this was really fun. Just like holy fuck, this movie, like and so many others are just like so nuts, dude. I'm gonna rate this movie a 9.1 out of 10. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Be sure to subscribe to see more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.